We're back. Bitcoin holding above 8,000 today, and crypto investors have their eyes on a few events next week that could give the cryptocurrency a boost. Who else but BK? Is it Plasma with a little crypto class? Beeks?
Yeah, sure is. So we've got a couple things next week that I think people need to take a look at in Bitcoin. First of all, let's take a look at the regulatory progress. This week, we just had a home run grand slam from the SEC and CFTC on what the regulations are going to be here. Basically, they said there are rules out there. We're going to not stifle innovation. That progress could be huge for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Secondarily, and I think this could be the fuel for the catalyst next week, Wyoming, not that they vote on crypto positive bills, but they're introducing some crypto positive bills, stuff where tokens will be exempt from certain rules, make it easier for innovation to happen. That's going to be a big one to watch. And then there's a big conference next week in Dallas, Texas. Usually around these conferences, you get quite a bit of news coming out, generally pretty positive. The conference I just came back from, people were quite positive about this. Yes, things have come down a bit painful, but nobody stopped building on it. Nobody stopped investing. So let's take a look at Bitcoin itself, see how it's doing here and where we are technically. Obviously had this big drop down here. Last week I highlighted 7,900. We did a little bit of a dead cat bounce off of that. Now 5,900. That's where we got around 6,000. We got there the other night. That to me again looked like a capitulation move. And what's interesting is that's the support resistance area just before we had this huge run up when Bitcoin futures were announced and everybody was starting to get into it. So from my eye, I think this one holds. I think you're safe, at least risk reward wise, to start putting money back into Bitcoin here.
All right. David Seaberg, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with Brian in general. I think the regulatory stuff is super important. It's very important just to make sure you can get that institutional investor at some point into this game. And I look at it and say, we saw sort of some deleveraging with some issues that occurred with Tether. At the end of the day, I think the names to buy are these protocol layer tokens. I love Ethereum. I think Ethereum is the one to own here.
Grasso?
The one thing that I own in the space is Overstock, and I own it because of its blockchain, and I think BK would agree with me. This is the way I play it. I don't have to bet on a coin. I bet on blockchain. That's the thing that's definitively not going away.
All right.
I got a $100 check from my grandma, and my dad said I need to put it in the bank so it can grow over the years.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
What do you mean? I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.